It's time for Cats Talk Wednesday. Small town and big city joined forces. Vinny Hardy of Lynch, Kentucky, and Terry Brown of Louisville, Kentucky, team up to give you free-flowing, laid-back sports talk. Focus on Kentucky Wildcats, as well as pertinent information in the NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball.
Live on the Biz3 Network, Terry T.B. Brown, Benny Hardy, Cats Talk Wednesday, Biz3Network.com. It's March, as you said before we started recording. The month we've been waiting for, TB. It's the regular season done flew by, and here we are, man.
Yeah, this is what we live for. It's March Madness time. The men's and women's teams are playing, and it's conference tournaments and buzzer beaters, and yeah, this is the best time of the year, man.
Mm-hmm. And the Cats still are not playing on Wednesday, so
that's right.
That streak is intact, as you like to.
That's right.
That meme. So
that's right.
We play tomorrow, and about midnight or later my time, 11 something your time.
It's gonna be a late one.
We'll know if it's either Georgia or Oklahoma who we get tomorrow night, starting probably after 10 my time, after 9 your time. So
yeah. But this is how it goes with those late night tips, and I'm excited. I'm excited about this team. It's like I said on Round of Shots. Scared money don't make money, man. Like, I know other teams, Auburn, Tennessee, Florida, all looking really, really good. Alabama, but we Kentucky, man. Like, we Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go win the Kentucky Invitational. Let's go do
it. Here we go. It's that time, man. Nice win at Missouri. Well, nice blowout of LSU, and then a nice road win to run Missouri Senior Day heading into Nashville. So got a little momentum.
The best thing about where the team is right now, we know who we got. And what I mean by that is we know who's going to play, who's not going to play, right? Because I think I saw something where the last 3 games are the first time we've had the same starting 5 since the beginning of January.
Yeah.
And that's almost 2 months of playing with people coming in, coming out, right? So now we know, okay, we got Butler, right? We know everybody knows their roles.
Mm-hmm.
And if Andrew Carr is going to be the Andrew Carr we saw in Como, if Colin Chandler is going to be able to be another ball handler and another shooter, I like my chances with that team. We have shown, injuries notwithstanding, but more than being healthy, it's just being consistent. And when we can get that consistency from folks, I like my chances.
Nope. Everybody's roles are kind of defined now. Butler's is continuing to, not saying he's going to ever get back to 100%, but he's continuing to get more and more comfortable with what he's dealing with. He's still playing reckless, man. He's still going to the hole hard. Going to the cup with no regard for this bad shoulder.
Yeah.
Still head of the snake on defense on the other team's point guard, a primary ball handler. So,
and that's the thing. Butler's got to be out there because we don't turn over teams a lot, but when we do, Butler's involved.
Mm-hmm.
And so with him out, more so I think that even on the offensive end, it was the defensive stuff that he does really, really well and is able to really get up and under some of those point guards. So this is our squad. This is what we're going to try to do, get the 11th SEC championship this weekend and look to the big tournament the next. So I'm definitely excited about that. On the men's side, a great way to end the season, right? A nice blowout win.
Mm-hmm.
We needed that game that was not competitive.
Yes.
Because the way the SEC is, those are rare, as we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
LSU was the only one.
Yeah.
That was comfortable from start to finish, right?
Yeah.
Even Vanderbilt is rough these days. So great to get a good exhale game at home for senior night, and then to go to Missouri, give them their second home loss.
You're right.
And defensively play Missouri tough. Missouri, was what 4 or 5 in the nation as far as points per game or what have you, efficiencies, and Kentucky's defense really played well. That to me has been the turnaround time, right? Because it was about January. Offense, fine. Defense was in the 70s or 80s. But now we've come up a little bit, right? Now we just outside that top 25, which I didn't think was possible.
Yeah.
I thought, hey, it's January. I thought this is what the team is.
Yeah.
And so that turnaround time and that turnaround has been instrumental into keeping Kentucky in games. So I think we're going to see some games where the offense is going to have to do it, some games where the defense is going to have to do it. The one thing I will say is about the teams that tend to win championships, you have to have big wins during the regular season. All right. You have to be able to do those things at a high level during the regular season, because then now that it's tournament time, you don't have to think, I think we can do this. We know we can hang with Alabama. We know we can hang with Florida. We know we can hang with Auburn, right? And that's just in the conference. But nationally, we know we can hang with Duke. Now, they're going to talk about that was in November. But, buddy, y'all ain't played nobody since November.
That's true.
I mean, did you know there was not a top 25 matchup in the ACC this year?
Wow.
Because I think
Louisville got ranked after they played Duke.
After they played Duke, yeah. and then you see stuff. Kentucky had more top 25 wins than the ACC altogether. Like, I want to look, I'm going to say this. I'm going to be nice. I'm going to give Louisville their props, right? They got the coach Kelsey, and it's Louisville's back up. I'm happy for y'all. 20-something wins, great. But you gotta be honest. One, you haven't beaten anybody. And two, you haven't played anybody. And look, you can only play who's on your schedule. Right? But like North Carolina, they're on the outside looking in. They went like a month and a half without losing, but they didn't play anybody. Not one quad one game to be found. And so how does that get you ready for the NCAA tournament? I don't think it does.
That's hard to do. That's some hard scheduling to pull off to be that.
And right.
Lacking.
And even before the SEC got good, like it is top to bottom now, where it's just murderer's row every night, even when Kentucky was good, okay, maybe the whole SEC wasn't great, but there were always one or two elite teams, right? We think about the 90s. We think about how good Arkansas was, how good Florida was getting to be. Florida, don't forget, went to the 94 Final Four.
Sure did. Was it Dan Cross and what's the other boy's name?
Oh, Brown?
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. Craig Brown with Andrew DeClerc and them. Yeah. And Dimitri Hill to meat hook, right?
Yeah.
But there's always in the SEC has been an elite team that Kentucky would play to measure themselves against once conference play called around, right? Even back in the 80s. Oh, here comes Dominique Wilkins in Georgia. Oh, here comes, Charles Barkley and Auburn, right? There's always been another elite SEC team.
Yeah.
If you remember 2014, SEC was down and blah, 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 blah. We still sent 2 teams to the Final Four.
No.
So the SEC has never quite been this bad as the ACC is. But that's to be expected when Roy Williams walks away, even Coach K walks away. Like, they have lost a tremendous amount of coaching talent. Leonard Hamilton is walking away. So it's tough to replace.
Yeah. That's it. You mentioned the Auburn game and talk about all the teams Kentucky can hang with, and that one kind of got out of hand. But at the end of the day, if you take away the two bank threes, they win by 10, and it's kind of like, well, they was better, and the score doesn't look as horrible. But the number one team banking in threes, you knew it was going to be a long day.
Yeah, and so, like I said, I know that game was a little bit got to be lopsided at the end, but it's still like we can still play with those guys.
Another shot, and now, yeah, it'd be nice to get them again. And then after they beat us, they kind of finally started to show a little, maybe, I don't know. I ain't gonna fly peaking too soon, but everybody in this conference, as good as it is gonna have periods where you're going through it.
Yeah,
we had ours. Some of us injuries. Alabama had a little spurt where they lost a couple in a row. For a long time, it seemed like Auburn might have been immune. Then they lose, to Texas A&M and then Alabama. Albeit they'd already locked up the regular season title, but still they were playing to win. They were, they didn't put the walk-ons out there against Texas A&M,
right,
or Alabama. So, Florida had a little spurt. They lost to Georgia and somebody else. Even everybody flies high, but eventually there's a little lull, and it finally hit Auburn.
And so what makes me confident as well is you're going to have to gut out some of these games. If you're going to win 3 games in the conference tournament, 3 or 4, and then you're going to win 6 straight, you got to gut them out. And the one thing I'm more confident this year than previous years is Mark Pope can design a play. Like the highlight of the Oklahoma game for me, of course, it was Oweh just saying, "All right, fellas, I got this." But there was the play out of the timeout where they ran some action at the top of the key, got Williams the ball, and somehow Oweh, who's on this run, is just wide open underneath.
Both dudes went to Williams,
and it's just I love it when the play call can scheme people open. It's very much like, for me, Kyle Shanahan when he's at his best. And I know we're going to talk about the Niners later on, but when Kyle Shanahan's at his best, you look up and it's like, how is Debo that wide open? Like there was a play, I guess 2 seasons ago now, Christian McCaffrey, while he's on this campaign, caught the ball, fell down, got up, and then ran into it. Like that's wide open, right? And so that was my whole thing with Oweh. It was like, oh, he's okay. And so I think we're going to see some improvements in situational basketball, offensively and defensively. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. I'm gonna try some headphones. I'll be back.
causing technical difficulties. Let's see. Go to these settings.
What do you get when you watch or listen to the Life Happens podcast? Well, I'll let them tell you.
Kim and I are both ministers of the gospel, and the Life Happens podcast is a beautiful balance by simply taking our spirituality with real life and merging it together to create a beautiful balance. And that's what we do.
BS3 Network proudly presents Life Happens podcast, where Christianity and life intersect. Live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central. There's a 100% chance of a laugh thunderstorm. Four men with different viewpoints take a movie, show, or documentary and review it uncensored, unfiltered, uncompromised, with no holds barred. Join BS3, Wilkes, King Doc, and H-Rap B as they take on Hollywood their own way. BS3 Network proudly presents The Forecast, where H-Rap B always predicts,
if I owe you something, I ain't got it. And if you need it, get it from God.
live every Monday at 8:30 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
So let's try it again. Let's see if y'all can hear me now. Let's see if it's on. Is it still me? Can y'all hear me now? No.
You can hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. I apologize, y'all. I don't know what I did or didn't do to cause that. I don't think I hit anything. I'm just gonna sit real still the rest of the way and hope everything stays like it is. When we take your other profile down, we take it out.
Yeah, go ahead. See if that works.
All right. I don't know, man. I don't even, it used to be me all the time. I was always Michelle remembers. You remember me.
I don't think it was you this time, brother. Am I coming in loud and clear though?
Yeah. But she put in the comments that she couldn't hear me. That's why I was texting you. So I did something. So my bad. My bad, Michelle. We got Mississippi State beating LSU 9-6. And it's crazy though, 4 games today. You usually had a little window after Texas beat Vanderbilt, then the news comes on and you get a little bit of a break. These games are going on so long now that it wasn't much of a gap between Texas and Vanderbilt going off and now Mississippi State and LSU coming on. It's like the games used to last 2 hours. Remember that TV? You pull it up on your TV, 7 to 9, then you scroll 9 to 11, and now these games are just expanding. And LSU's back there warming up, and they didn't even have much time to wait to get out there on the court.
It's ridiculous. The game should not be 3-hour games. Like, it's not great.
And I roll my eyes at wanting to speed up baseball games, and look, I want to eat a hot dog, and if it lasts 4 hours this night and 2 hours the next, I like the inconsistency of that you get with baseball. And I'm not covering every game and wanting to get home and all that and got a deadline, but basketball should always be able to fit in that window. The same 40 minutes should fit into that 2 hour programming block. And here lately, you remember the Vanderbilt, I think Texas A&M game went so long that you about missed the first half of Kentucky and whoever we were playing.
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It was about 5 minutes left in the first half before it finally came on. It's like, but the thing is, it wasn't even on ESPN News.
Right.
It was like ESPN Plus. I'm like, what? I mean, so if you're going to run it like that, you at least need to give something. You got to put it somewhere. You got all these ESPNs, all these SEC networks and whatnot, ESPNU. Use that.
Yeah. So like Charles Barkley now, they can work me like a dog and not pay me. He said they have you on ESPN 1, 2, ESPNU, ESPN Cortez. That was the most ridiculous one, because the game was out of reach, and like Vandy kept fouling or something. I'm like,
and they kept going to the monitor.
Yeah. That's the worst one I've ever seen so far.
Yeah, that was bad. But Texas A&M has a lot of those. Because if you remember when we were beating them, Buzz ain't gonna take them timeouts with him back to Aggie Land.
That's right.
They're not going back to College Station. He decided they gave them to me, and I'm gonna use them all.
I'm gonna wear my vest. I'm gonna call these timeouts.
and I'm gonna sweat.
That's right. You mentioned your Niners in relation to Kentucky. NFL free agency is going on in addition to everything else. And I saw we already knew Debo. That was a few days ago. But now your fullback, your Jusic, is been released.
Jusic is gone, yeah.
And how's he's been to 9 Pro Bowls. I did not realize that. I mean, I know the Pro Bowl, I don't really keep up. But he's been to 9. And I thought Debo's only been to 1. How does that?
Yeah.
I thought that was
odd. Well, the thing about Debo is the way he's used, he's not putting up wide receiver 1 numbers. But he's not putting up running back numbers. So what do you do with Debo? And Juice, but how many fullbacks in the NFL right now? And so, he's going to have a lot of Pro Bowls, and he should. He's been fantastic. He's been a great safety valve for Purdy, right? Like the comeback against Detroit 2 seasons ago. It was a couple of Juice on the sideline, catching it, tapping his toes, which is unusual for a fullback. He ain't Daryl Johnson. He ain't,
Hey. Could have said Tom Rathman or something. Come on.
Yeah, Tom Rathman. I know, but he's not that prototypical fullback.
Yeah.
So I think the Niners are just moving in a different direction. I think that it's going to be more about this is what Purdy can do. So I don't think I hate to say it's gimmicky, but it's going to be less of we got a lot of guys that can do a lot of different things and more of we got elite guys. Because what saddled the 49ers last 2 seasons is not having a wide receiver that can create separation.
What are your we haven't even finished yet. The draft hasn't happened yet. But turning the page, if you will, end of an era, if you will, or is the window still? Do you expect to fully contend and be in the mix, or are you kind of thinking, well, we might be kind of stepping back? Your honest expectation, what you think they're trying to do.
Well, the draft is going to be key, right? Because we need help on the offensive, defensive lines. That's been the thing. I knew Ward was going to go because his daughter passed away, and he just had to get out of San Francisco. I get it. I respect it. I wish him well. The one player that's gone that I was like, oh, is Dre Greenlaw.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he had Travis Kelce in hell in that Super Bowl, tears his ACL, and, we know what happens. I still feel good about the offense, though. You got, again, get the offensive line together, but you got Purdy, who I believe in. Still got Kittle playing at a high level, still going to get Ayuk, still got Jennings, still got we got Ricky Pearsall.
Right.
You got to remember that he got shot. And that kind of pushed him back a little bit. But I still think that offense with CMC, and Garindo from Louisville, who played well as a rookie last year. It's one of those things. Get the lines right, and we can go. Still got Bosa on the defense side. Still got Fred. The defensive backfield, I think, is pretty solid with Green and Mustafa and Jair Brown, and I'm missing somebody, Lenore. So I feel confident. I saw something today. They're still favored to win the NFC West next year. And so if you can do that and get in the playoffs, let's see. So I'm not saying that the window is closed.
Mm-hmm.
I think if the window is closed, we'd be seeing more people leave. I just think it's a refocusing and trying to get back to it. I mean, you look at other teams that have done similar. The Rams, after their Super Bowl appearance, they won, took a step back. They lost your boy Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
And so, but they were right back in the mix this year.
Yeah.
And so I'm still looking around the NFC. Seattle's getting a new quarterback.
Yo.
Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Okay. And the Cardinals are the Cardinals.
They did sweep y'all last year, though. I'm just saying.
Yeah, they did. But the Cardinals still the Cardinals.
Just saying.
Yeah. And then you got the Rams. So and yes, Philadelphia, and that's my thing is you got to get the offensive line right if you're gonna play Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I mean that's the thing. And so but I still feel confident. I mean, it's not quite like it was a few years ago where I just said I'm not worried about anybody in the NFC. Like I said, Philadelphia is up there. Washington.
Yeah.
Don't know how they're going to move forward from their NFC Championship game appearance. So, I tell you who I'm not worried about.
It's on a T. I'm seeing where you gonna go.
All I got to say to Micah Parsons is, bro, you are 0-3 against the San Francisco 49ers. And you have one quarterback pressure in 3 games.
Pass rush. I think he had 1 sack, or maybe none that year. I'm like, how can you not look into a sack playing a whole season?
Yeah, so for me, I get it, trash talk, but Micah Parsons, I'm not ready to hear that, buddy. So I'm not worried about that.
I understand.
As bad as the 49ers looked last year, well, we took care of that. I know at some point the Cowboys are going to win another one. At some point that's going to happen.
Yeah, we still trying, I reckon. So,
but I love the free agency. A lot of people trying to get on Myles Garrett because he's like, I got to get out of here. And then he got paid. And he's like, it's all good.
Yeah, I was hoping he would, but hey, You
Look,
got
man.
the right to change your mind and sign a 6-year, $400 billion contract. So hey,
Yeah, and that's my thing is, well, his principles. Look, man, all of us at our job be like, man, I'm through with this place. And the boss like, here. For most of us, it's like, here's a pizza party. But for $40 million guaranteed, yeah.
and if they go 3-14 again, well, it won't be his fault. He'll get his 15 to 20 sacks or whatever, and do his part like he always does. Take his money and watch the team crumble around him. Whoever they get at quarterback got to be an upgrade over Deshaun. Even if it's Russell, whoever they get, I mean, they'll be better there.
They still got to pay that dude. Like, the contract never made sense, and it really didn't make sense for that guy.
Yeah.
That's the thing that is like, that guy y'all broke the market for that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he was good in Houston, but not. We need to change how we pay quarterback good.
Right. Yeah.
Which led me to believe there's collusion, because when Lamar was a free agent and nobody wanted to sign him, are you for real? Come on now.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nobody that dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all just don't want to break the bank. That's all it is.
Lakers, gotta get to LeBron, name, all that goes together. What is wrong with me, yo? Oh man. Oh, but yeah, LeBron and Stephen A. We got to hit that because it's some people that was cool with it. Some people thought it was a problem. I think we kind of on the same side on it.
Look, Stephen A. Smith is a clown. He's a well-paid clown, but he's a clown. All right. This is the difference between sports media now and sports media like kind of when we were growing up. The experts when we were growing up spent time in locker rooms and clubhouses and at least had a little familiarity with the people that they're talking about. Right? So if somebody for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution can say Dale Murphy is 2 for his last 20, what's going on? Right? So he would have, but you would still have to go back to the clubhouse and have that conversation. That's not what we have anymore. We've got people like Stephen A. Smith that can sit and opine on everything. Like, you can't possibly know everything about everything. And now these people think that they are bigger than the folks that they're covering.
He walks in like he's got to play a game.
And ESPN feeds into that. I don't need to see Stephen A. coming through the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to see that. And so, as I've said before, the LeBron MJ debate is the worst thing to happen to the NBA. Because both sides just dug into something, and it's also subjective.
Yep.
I mean, you can say, this is the best dude I ever saw. Okay. But this dude is the best ever, ever, ever. And any time somebody did something over the last 30 years, it was always, has always been, MJ was better. And so now we've got LeBron who's doing things and been good longer than we've ever seen. And it's all a bunch of nitpicking. Fine. My 2 cents on the Stephen A. LeBron stuff is the issue was never Bronny can't be criticized.
Right.
I think that's part of it. If you shoot 2 for 20 We got to talk about it. If
Yes.
you got more turnovers than field goals, we're going to talk about it.
Mhm.
But when Stephen A gets on national TV and talks about what a sham this is and LeBron's nepotism, all this kind of stuff, and he says with his chest, as a father, I'm asking you to put a stop to this. Now it's something different.
Mhm.
It's stop. Like, you can be media, I can be athlete, right? Everybody's got rules to follow. But you take it to a place, now I got to take it to a place, right?
Mhm.
That's how that's how the world works. I go to a store, I'm the customer, this is the employee, everybody's got a job to do. When I step out of my role, now you got to step out of your role, right? Like, that's what happens.
Mhm.
And so it went from criticizing a professional basketball player to talking about LeBron James as a father. It was unnecessary. And on his show, he's talking about how LeBron's this and this, while clips of Bronny missing shots, like his low lights are running in the background. Right? Did you see that? Like, all I'm saying is my oldest is playing lacrosse at Aurora University. There's not a lot of press, but I don't need to read press about what my kid's doing or not doing. I got to say something to you. It's just that simple. Now, that being said, a couple weeks ago when he first said stuff about Bronny, and he then gets on his show talking about how LeBron's people got to him through different channels, and he said he didn't respect that. That's what Stephen A. Smith said. Okay. So now you courtside, you're here, I'm here, we're having this conversation. Now, do I judge Stephen A. Smith because when LeBron's in his face, he backed up? No, I didn't, because I back up from 6'8", 250 players. I was like, okay. But now he's on this whirlwind tour of how you going to do it like this. Look, your dad, my dad, came from that generation. I got a problem with you as a man. I'm saying it to your face. Right? I ain't writing you a letter. I'm not calling you on the phone. Wherever I see you, I will see you, and you and I will have this conversation. But now he's trying to make like that's a weak thing to do. They got my numbers. Who are you? Who are you?
He won it both ways. Well, he, Maverick got my number and Rich got my number, but this is the way he chose to do it. Like, you, the victim, because he came and stepped to you, and nobody cared who you sitting by. I was sitting by my representation, and they would sit beside of me, and he was right there. I don't mind to fly out. Why you got to fly out? You right there. And like you said, you already said it was weak that he came through the channels. So he came direct, and now you want it both ways. Yeah, you can't need it too.
And the beautiful part is the Knicks were winning. LeBron talks to this man like this and goes back, and the Lakers end up winning the game. That's fantastic. I'm going to say my piece, and now you got to watch me do your favorite team in.
Yeah.
But this is what happens, right? These media folks, they talk slick talk, right? They talk all this slick talk, and then when a player actually says something, now, wait a minute, I'm supposed to ask questions, truth to power, blah, 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 blah. Come on, man. Y'all know when you cross the line.
Yeah.
It's like Skip Bayless and Chris Bosh. Bosh went to that man to man, and said, hey, quit calling me Bosh Spice. Like, that's disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
And what did he do? He ramped it up. Now, if Chris Bosh would have put hands on him, blah, 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 blah. But I mean, that's what we're missing in today's world. My dad told me a long time ago, you can talk as much junk as you can back up.
Yeah.
Right? But we've taken that out, right? Because we see people yelling at people in the games, yelling at players in the game. like good and well. I got that one picture of Trent Williams coming off of the field in Dallas, and these Dallas fans giving him the business. One, I know you are not going to go to a 6'8", 300-something pound man and flip him off on the street. I just know that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But you think in this situation I can do that, which is why I say we need more Malices and Palaces.
Yeah.
Don't throw stones to hide your hands, right? So all these media types come up with all this stuff. One, they don't know the players, right? They don't know them,
Mm-hmm.
and they do just enough to. Again, you can criticize somebody going 3 for 15. You should.
Right, and two things can be true. Bronny's not played great, and you can say that. You're right. And LeBron got to know that that's going to happen.
Right.
But when it does go to that other part where it's just too much, then Stephen A. should have known that was going to happen. You saw Jamel Hill. You saw our guy Michael Tillery. You've been in more locker rooms than we can count. This used to happen in the locker room. When you go too far, so
right?
If you go in there after the game, then hey, the locker room just was courtside where Jack Nicholson sits that night. That's just what happened.
You get well, his son is professional. Look, man, LeBron has been dogged for 20 years, and he's never come after any of these folks for all their ridiculous takes. Right? Mm-hmm. The only time he said something is when he talked about his kid out of pocket.
Mm-hmm. You talk about, putting hands on Chris Bosh didn't. Jim Everett did. Jim Rome kept calling him Chris Everett. And then it finally, there they are face to face on Talk 2 or whatever it was on ESPN2.
Back close.
He said, look, Chris again, you better go to commercial. He told him, you better go to commercial. Call me Chris. What? He said, what? Jim cocky. Well, what if I do then? And as soon as he said Chris, the table was flipped. And
now I'm moving furniture.
Jim Everett he was a quarterback. He was still 6'5", 2, whatever. He was a big dude. And, that clip is in infamy on the internet forever,
Yeah. So that's my 2 cents on Stephen A.
Exactly, man. So yeah, we got Stephen A. The Lakers now. How long is LeBron out? Got the groin injury. Him and Luka was rolling, and now,
give it a little bit of time. Again, you want LeBron healthy come playoff time. Right, you want him to be able to do his thing in the playoffs. So even if you slide down to a 4 seed, I still take my chances.
The next little bit, got a little rough stretch coming up. Bad timing for him to be out. I got 6 games. Just have to kind of recalibrate when he does get back. Using the chemistry that y'all was trying to fix him to start working on, just kind of have to restart that. What it is, I wasn't feel sorry for him. Maybe y'all slide.
Oh, nobody's feeling sorry for him.
Yeah, slide on down to a 6 or 7. Well, you said a 4. I'm sliding down to about a 7.
We got to avoid the play-in game.
Right? Yeah. If we both playing game, playing tournament, all this stuff. Just be one of the best 8 teams and make it. And of course, it's not what it is anymore. It is what it is. Oh, Bridgman, man. Talk about Louisville earlier. This guy, just Louisville through and through.
Yeah.
Self-made billionaire after his playing days.
Yeah.
Just became a few months ago minority Bucks owner, right? He just got some ownership within the Bucks.
10%, yeah.
Yeah. Passed away yesterday at 71. Like you mentioned, just he was Louisville to the core and played for the Cardinals. Played in the NBA. Businessman extraordinaire after he retired. It's, hate to see that he passed away, man. So, helped the Ali Center too, right? He had a pivotal role.
Yeah.
Ali Center right there on the waterfront area in Louisville.
Yeah.
If you haven't been, you got to go. For those that haven't been, you got to go check that out too. Yeah, hate to see Mr. Griffin talking.
EB, sorry about all the technical difficulties. Try to be better next week. For sure. We'll get TB back. But yeah, condolences to the Bridgman family. So we can get TB back and let him say his piece. I'm sorry for coming in and out and all that. Can you hear me a little better now?
Yeah, I can hear you. You got me?
Okay. Yeah. I didn't know.
Yeah, but Junior Bridgman, he was Louisville, right? Like that's why I tell people at the time I was growing up in Louisville, the Louisville Cardinals were I would say the premier men's hoops program in the country. And Junior Bridgman was part of that. And like I was telling you before we got on here, this is how great his legacy is. He was one of the other dudes that the Lakers traded to get Kareem. That's what sent him to Milwaukee. And that's not what defined him. I mean, I remember reading, in the 90s about him buying up these franchises, and he owns Ebony and Jet now as well. Like,
wow.
Yeah, I mean, he invested so much in the city of Louisville and the University of Louisville. That's a tough loss. As you said, he's instrumental in the Muhammad Ali Center, and just one of those people that was always giving back to the community. So it's a tough loss.
For sure. Yeah, just didn't act all better than you just because he was a billionaire. Never, never tried to just act like he was, I'm wealthy and I'm this, I'm that. That wasn't him at all. Just
humble,
regular guy. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. He loved the city. The city loved him.
Absolutely. So condolences to Junior Bridgman and all of his family for sure. We had the combine. I don't really keep up with the combine a lot. And, you had the pro day for Kentucky football. I'm just going to say my bad, Deion Walker, because, we saw some plays, saw the production go down, or, I was critical of the Louisville game. I'm like, man, why are we not hustling you? If you just run, you got a sack. Look, the man's back was fractured and he was still out there. So that, when, changes everything. So glad that he is healthy and able to go on and, pursue his professional career. But that explained a lot now when you look at what was going on that season. He chose to play, didn't want to sit out and make everybody think he was just trying to skip out and stay healthy. He was risking his body. And, we talk about Andrew Carr and his back and a lot of bigs and back issues and how physical the SEC is. And we saw Carr struggling out there on the court. Deion Walker plays D tackle. So slamming yourself into these offensive linemen from Florida and Auburn and Georgia with a fractured back. Hey, gutting it out on a 4-8 team, and you still suiting up.
Somebody's going to get a steal, right? I still feel we're going to be 2 or 3 years down the road, and it's going to be, how did D.F. Walker, how did he not go at the top of the draft?
Mm-hmm.
But that's my 2 cents. But yeah, I don't watch a whole lot of the draft because I don't even know what I'm looking at. I know what the drills are, but I don't know what I'm looking at. And I see the average person like, oh, you see this person's hips and he moves. You don't know what you're looking at. You don't know. I refuse to believe these people know what makes a good guard versus a good tackle. You don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool to watch the 40 times and things like that, but most times you don't know what you're looking at.
I don't watch a lot of combine, and when it's the draft, the first 10, 15 picks, the notable names, and and then you peep in for when the Kentucky guys get selected throughout the rest of the weekend, and that's kind of.
Yeah, Hairston made his move.
Yeah, he
being fast, but the thing is, you look at some of those fast combine times, it's always like, who? I mean, that's not the end all be all.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Oh man, too, got to talk about Tiger, man, but just another setback. The Achilles. Trying to get back for the Masters, and now
it's a wrap, man. His body just betrayed him. He was must-see TV for 20 years thereabouts, but Father Time comes for us all.
Mm-hmm. That's it. That is it. So hate to see that, because he'll be 50 this year, right? He's born in 75. A couple years older than us. Or 76.
I think he might have a year or 2 on us.
All right, yeah. So maybe he's 49.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Oh yeah, he was born December 30th, 1975. So he's at the end of the year. That's the thing.
Right. All right. Yeah. 5-0 coming up. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he's got 50, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a shame.
Mm-hmm. For sure. But it's March Madness time. We finally made it. I apologize for all these technical difficulties. Everybody enjoy the game tomorrow. Kentucky and
it felt like one of those Jefferson Pilot productions from the early 90s.
Just need Tom Hammond in here.
Some sweet string music.
Yeah.
And some golden flake chips.
That's it.
Hey,
That's it. Well, y'all, we'll hop on up here. Y'all enjoy your evening. Enjoy these games, wall-to-wall hoops. Enjoy the small conference tournaments. Watch the Cats tomorrow. Let's beat the Dogs or the Sooners, whoever it is, and start our little run in the SEC and NCAA tournaments. Be back next week. So for TB, this is Vinny. Static Hardy. Try to be smoother and clear next week.
We'll get it.
See y'all later on Cats Talk Wednesday.